Please stand for the invocation. In honor of President's Day, want to know when it is this month? The 16th. I'll be praying a prayer that George Washington proposed. So let us pray. Almighty God, we make our earnest prayer that thou wilt keep the United States in thy holy protection. That thou wilt incline the hearts of the citizens to cultivate a spirit of subordination and obedience to the government, and entertain a brotherly affection and love for one another and for their fellow citizens of the United States at large. And we finally that thou wilt most graciously be pleased to dispose us all to do justice, to love mercy, and to demean ourselves with that charity, humility, and pacific temper of mind, which were the characteristics of the divine author of our blessed religion. And without a humble imitation of whose examples in these things we can ever hope to be a happy nation. Amen. Amen. Please join me. Well, it's Peter here for the United States Pledge of Allegiance to the United. Yes, please go ahead, Peter.
Please join me in pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Peter, could you lead us?
Yes, sir. Honor the flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, as one state under God, one and indivisible.
Was?
Yes. We
citizens of the American Revolution, who by their sacrifices established the United States of America, reaffirm our faith in principles of liberty and our constitutional republic, and solemnly pledge ourselves to defend them against every foe.
the sons of the American Revolution honor our Revolutionary War patriot ancestors by
Promoting patriotism, serving our communities, educating and inspiring future generations about the founding principles of our country.
Please be seated.
You okay with it or not? You can't chat.
Mark Hadeson, resident of Fairview, member of the Dallas and Lincoln chapters.
Tom Wilson, my McKinney chapter, and my wife Carol. I'm Jim Akers, a member of McKinney, Denton, Dallas, Harris, Greenville, and Sandy. And I'd like to introduce a fellow Denton member. This is Dr. Tom Richards. Tom is a retired professor at the University of North Texas in the College of Business Administration. And a couple other interesting things about Tom. His grandfather was Charles Dawes. Charles was the vice president under Calvin Coolidge and also earned a Nobel Peace Prize for his work in restructuring the debt of Germany from the First World War. And furthermore, Tom's patriot ancestor is a guy named William Dawes. We all know who William Dawes was, right? So, the only one of the three that spread the alarm during the revolution that did not get captured. In fact, I've asked the question of Tom, and he hasn't been able to satisfactorily answer that to me as to why we know more about our friend Paul Revere. So I did a little research on that, and I came up with another poem, "The Midnight Ride of William Dawes." I am a wandering bitter shade, never of me was a hero made. Poets have never sung my praise, nobody crowned my brow with bays. And if you ask me the fatal cause, I only answer, my name was Dawes. 'Tis all very well for the children to hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. But why should my name be quite forgot, who rode as boldly and well God wot? Why should I ask? The reason was clear. My name was Dawes and his Revere. When the lights from the Old North Church flashed out, Paul Revere was waiting about. But I was already on my way. The shadows of night fell cold and gray. As I rode with never a break or a pause, but what was the use when my name was Dawes? History rings with his silvery name. Close to me are the portals of fate. Had he been Dawes and I Revere, no one would have heard of him, I fear. No one has heard of me because he was Revere and I was Dawes.
Nathan White is with McKinney chapter, and my wife wants it.
I'm selling his recent.
Gary Bohannon, McKinney chapter, and Thomas Jefferson chapter, Elford, California.
Jerry King, the McKinney chapter.
Larry Moore, McKinney chapter, Dallas chapter.
Gary Barnett.
John Greer, the Dallas chapter and McKinney chapter, and the fish providing this week where he was pretty. Not bad, Sherman chapter and dual member here.
Yeah.
On the laptop. This is my friend Walter Hudson. And he's gonna be the speaker tonight. He's 103 years old.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
My friend of Don Bass, I think. Anyway, thank you for having me here and thank you for the dinner. It's very lovely. And I'm very happy and privileged to meet all you folks. My name is John Aranjan. I'm with the American Legion. There's some line in California, Texas.
Jim Bullis.
I'm Mel Oller, been with Freedom Chapter, Piney Woods Chapter, and McAdams Chapter in Huntsville, and also Texas SAR President this year.
There is a song.
Dave Fothery, Plano chapter, dual Dallas and McKinney, and also dual Louisiana Society Alexandria chapter. I have 3 patriot ancestors who fought under Galvez in Louisiana.
Mark Harrison, Dallas Chapter, Bill McWood. Okay.
Tom Van Foster, Dallas chapter, dual with McKinney.
Scott Kingsley, okay.
Al Lacey McKinney. Mark McCraw McKinney.
Pete McClellan, McKinney.
I'm John Wright McKinney. I'm here with my grandson, Cole Wallace.
Good.
Rich Bonaparte, McKinney Registrar, my wife Lynn.
Peter Ford, McKinney.
Las Vegas Secretary, and we do not have anybody on Zoom tonight.
Well, welcome everyone for this wonderful evening and hearing Dr. Hunter. I believe it's Tom's turn to introduce Dr. Hunter.
Yep. Yep, got it. Okay.
Wonderful. Is this any work? Yes. We have a chair for you so you can get comfortable here. So this is my new friend that I met in Sherman not too long ago, right? Oh, great. Right, yeah. And Carol and I went out to be with the Sherman chapter of the Sons of American Revolution, and Walter was the speaker, and I decided that I needed to get this guy to come talk to us. So he's got quite a bio, but he's only gonna chat with you at least a little bit about one or two things that maybe happened to him in his lifetime. And oh, by the way, he may start asking you questions, okay? So if you start, so if he asks you a question, you need to think about it real carefully before you answer, right, Walter? Right, okay, so we're gonna see if we can get him mic'd up here, right? Let's see. Let's see, say something to see what happens. No. That should work, I think, if you just.
Yeah, put it up higher.
You can put up,
Can you put
yeah,
it up?
closer to his collar, yeah.
There you go. Where's, so you won't even have to hold this. Okay.
Well, folks. Nice numbers. Nice signs. And I want to be introduced to McKinney as the most blessed person in the whole wide world. I do 3.15555 trillion seconds. That means I've had over 3 trillion seconds in life. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Every moment, including those in the Marine Corps, including those as a kid, and with different faith. We traveled. I was married for 77 years. I have 7 grandchildren, 4 of them have PhDs. I'm proud of what that meant. My wife passed away after 77 years, 2 years ago. And I drove to the end of the road, stopped the stop sign, took the keys out of the car, gave it to my son. I've been traveling ever since. I used to make presentations. Nowadays, we have conversations. So please put up with me. I hope I won't bore you too much. I was born in Macon, Nebraska. Macon, Nebraska, when I was born in a small town. Not like Swan. And my grandfather was a dairyman. I lived in the edge of town. And I've been a farmer, no cows, without hay. Living home with no restroom, no bathroom, no running water. But I lived a winter's life. And boy, I had the whole Nebraska plains to ride. And woods, creeks, and rabbits, and squirrels, all kinds of things that were going. My neighbor, best friend, my neighbor was Jane Gray, not the famous thing.
Not that one.
Law school. We had 6 grades in school. It was perfect square. My mother was PTA president. She took me around and had me write poems and so whatever for people. So I knew all the teachers. And so I'm so blessed. I just can't express it. And I'm blessed to be here tonight and talk to a good American. Frankly, I miss him. The town I grew up in, we were good American. A celebration of the 4th of July, and we celebrated being American. And I find it strange in the world today. I'll reminisce a little bit of grace. I grew up in a small town, and we were a friend of all the teachers. My mother knew all the teachers. We had tragedies in our family and in our home. And my own home, my brother was 6 years old, was killed in a terrible accident. And he died in the hospital by a medical accident. My mother died 6 months later. With, I hate to say it, the true criminal abortion. She was depressed. She was 28 years old. I lived with my grandmother who was 80 years old at that time. She could hardly hear, and she couldn't see, but it was rushing. But she couldn't read. We had a TV. So every night she wanted to read the Bible. She couldn't read it, so I had to read it to her. Consequently, I read it. And I still know the stories, but she reminisced about them, so forth. That, when I was in college, I had one course in Bible, I took Old Testament, I aced the course. But I reminisced. A chance to join the Boy Scouts, Boy Scout leader, and Cub Scout leader. And then later on, was Western Union, the Pastor Boy, Western Union. And I had this great opportunity, you guys don't have this anymore. But I had this great opportunity of singing tolerance. I always got a dime tip. On the first in line, when they had singing tolerance, I raised my hand, they sent me out. I couldn't sing. I don't think you get a dime tip this year. But that was one thing, but I knew it was every bit from them. But I've been to all officers, I knew who they were, they knew who I was, so I felt very, very secure. Depression times, that I would have a job, but I knew these guys. I knew they would give me a job, but very, very secure. One of them used to say, "More than you go up, it doesn't work for me." So I go on to the very good, yes, back in the 20s and 30s. The first recollection of being American, about a Boy Scout, and very early walk in this town. And the rest of the Capitol building, and he's coming into the Capitol building. You go to 16th Street, I was one of the Boy Scouts. I stood up there with Boy Scout service, proud, reporting proud back and forth. 14 years old. What was great. I still remember the old president of the United States of the same quote, and they were acquiring from me. That was the time. Well, we all lived in the freedom flag and being a good member of the community. And World War II came along. But we were a big people. We were back with attended a small high school. And that time, the federal government had a program for boys and families on affluent. Pay $6 a week for the school. So I went with the custodian, with the principal, I was teacher, and I go to the coach. I had $6 a week, and they gave me a key to the school. So, the school had 125 kids. I majored in science. I was out Saturdays and went to chem lab. Did experiments all over the show with physics experiments. Chem lab. Later on, I saw electronics at the same school. Wonderful experience. I was a dental technician. I was a Paris dental technician. Worked in a dental lab in the old world. There were 5 high school boys that graduated. In World War II. And all 5 of them listed from the service, 2 was in Marine Corps, 1 in the Army, 1 in the Navy, 1 in the Coast Guard. And we had a reunion afterwards, with 3 of us were there. From the Navy and the Air Force. We were on the Air Force, I think. World War II. I stayed in reserve. I went to college. Yeah, ill. Very little about it. I was discharged in November. I went out to Now, I think they said, well, you have to come back in January, then you check the mission. Why did you come back? No, wait. I, and, I made very free mathematics and graduated 3 years. In the Marine Corps, my MOS was Tropical Mining. I left my water now in December 1942. Now, the landing, provisional landing was August 1942. And I replaced another Marine who on the ship's communication post at Henderson Field. Then seen Henderson Field from the air, showing me their head to watch it on. I the two, 3 other people. We maintain all the wire about the field. To one line and then to the televisions, to naval television. The Air Force at that time, not differentiated. We had Army Air Force, we had Marine Air Force, we had Navy Air Force. Or Captain. And the Air Force, when first of all, problems that were out, the first role, don't be the very tough airplane. Look at the 30 people journal. Later on, the speaker of the aviation of the plane came on and had the people of the airline. And of course, he had to shout there on the we're going to now till April 1943. And in April 1943, the mayor called the naval intelligence going to hold. They knew all about the Japanese, what they were doing, but we were getting cold. We knew that Admiral Yamamoto, right, and my voice got good. And be blind in a Roman bill. Well, I was there at the time, the 15 P-38. I'm the Air Force. The Fred Hole, the no radar, and P-38 out the shop. Got it down. He would come in and they 2-inch aircraft. This plane was still at the top over the coast. After working out, went to rest, museum, which I didn't smoke. I was still a kid. I decided to walk to, I bought cigarettes at PM, 6 cents a pack, over to the sports store, and then bought a set of golf clubs. I play golf every day. I have a caddy, named Charlie Hughes. That place gave golf clubs, here's how you take the golf clubs. Go back to back to Auckland years later, look at the time, so that was the time. We went back to Golden, back to now, they think both of them. Okay, like, landing on the number one. But in both bills, it would be, and up to that time, we called Reuters sold payroll company. One company, they actually do payroll, brain companies. We should have communication of this happening, money. We'll go. You haven't heard about it. You've heard of that, I mean, we were on the west side of the range every day. Just won't be that. I let it Grand Beach. The auction of the landing or every landing, we get landing bid. Nancy, you shank the bank. Then we was the landing one place and question the give a small fire And we got stuck between two trees. We couldn't get out of there, so we back and forth, back and forth. But pushing, high school kids. We were probably 18, 19 years old. We ran back and forth the tank and finally tipped the tank out. Oh, that's a big piece. In Louisville, about 45 days. And PBs came in from airfield. Now we go on truck and cut off Japanese job city. And Louisville had been the event to change the whole city. Japanese lost the airplanes and so many men. They lost 30,000 men. What now? Almost every Japanese soldier spent what now died. Yeah, even unfireable bombs about trees, but it was almost actually there. Then what next was and then new landing North Cloverdale with the third regiment fading. He was one of the guys from the regiment. And we landed on the LSI. We landed in Cloverdale, that pretty cut off for some time. From there on out, we can't believe we're fighting, it's essentially for the war with Russia, they couldn't pronounce, they couldn't really, we had our, we was, they lost almost all their heritage truck. But my mom made, and they got this Temple Chevy theater, Temple Chevy theater, which I did not participate in, entirely different, every war. For all, the great war from in him, you know, but in all. So, meanwhile, I was in back to the States. I wanted to study electronics. He assigned me to electronics. And I'm actually electronics very quickly. I like to something. And when Rainbow came along, I was a teacher of electronics, from electronics. What I'm trying to say is that I think American militaries have great opportunities. American boy, you take advantage of the opportunities that are there. And I think all of this would also be. That's probably a number life on the earth. If you well, he had got cities, you know, we have 3 daughters, they have 7 grandchildren, and we have another great grand, we're very lucky. So, my life right now, he passed away 2 years ago. I'm getting a call away, I travel. I travel by air. I lucky enough to have grandchildren that live in the United States, Colorado, Michigan, Iowa, and New York City. And I traveled with my state, I traveled 40,000 miles. I traveled by air, and like a few other miles. Well, I'm thankful for these 3 trillion seconds of that life. And that's funny. You were very something that. And so I have a good life. I'm thankful for my children. Like you. But it's also shame for them. They do, boy, the who's from America. The answer the question. I think it's going to be obviously faculty members, university buildings, each have a voice. And these are voicing on. I would encourage you. Yes, sir.
Walter, were you part of the Cactus Air Group? The Cactus Air Group? Was that present in Guadalcanal at that time?
Yeah. It was the Navy and it says like Task Force 58. Yeah, we were part of that. We were part of the Fleet Marine Force.
Okay.
And we were very close to the Navy. In fact, Glasgow all had naval officers. We had Marine officers. And there were 100 officers in Marine intelligence. I was out there with Marine intelligence. One time, 19-year-old, didn't know very much, but I thought it was the team.
That's good.
And you know, at the time, and I'm wondering, any other question that I want to?
So is there, Walter, is there one, like during the war, when you were at Guadalcanal and probably had interface with Japanese, some prisoners, etc. Is there anything that you remember about that sort of something that made you realize, you know, how great of a life you were having compared to someone else that made you up to?
Yeah, part of it. Now I was walking by a prison camp one day, and we were jamming the soldiers behind by the water. And one of the kids, Japanese boy, he said, "Hey, Marine, throw me a coconut." Well, I stopped and I said, "Speak English." And he said, "No," he said, "I was going to Los Angeles. But home with my grandparents. Here I am at what is now. I've been high school, big kid. But even once I bought work, that's not in there. And I seen him the day before, and probably was not be there. But he must be a great candidate. He had one of these prisons there, most of them died, started, regularly his Supreme Court. And on the other end, I'm going to do a lot. And then kids we learn for the East Coast, West Coast, Colorado, and so forth. And they're very good friends. We spent a lot of time in foxholes, talking about them, comparing, talking to our girlfriends, and the car we owned and that sort of thing. And we debates on it. So we're blessed to been part of the outfit like that. And but one thing I'd say to you, I don't worry. I never worry. I don't worry now. That's only best.
That may be why you live so long, so you don't worry. I mean, how many people in this audience would say, "I never worry"? Anybody will raise their hand?
That may be better. The part of studies, both at Einstein University in New York City, I'll go up there sometime this spring. But they want me to examine my brain to see what's good. That's part of the operation. But part of the issues are these ones on successful aging. What we studied, I don't know much about study, but I can imagine, what to be studied. In my own experience, I finished university, I didn't everything I teach. But I taught after that. I loved it. I taught 10 years in high school. Then in my time in education. And academic lead. I applied 65 doctoral students to the Boston Bury. You know, it went well. Also, I run an actual lab and radiation research. Research projects. And we have lived 2600 homes. All 50 states, like Moscow, Tasmania, then we've been several times, Australia, South America, Israel. I'm very fortunate to be able to have those kinds of experiences. If I don't, I like the material family. Pretty grateful. Yes, sir.
You may have mentioned it, but when you first got there, were you part of the 3rd Defense Battalion?
What now?
3rd Defense Battalion? Is that the group that you were stationed when you first got there
No,
in August of?
I was part of what you call fire command at that time.
Okay,
Fire command then became Gasco.
okay.
Part of fire command was now. We entered to. Not good. Marine Naval Authorities, Cast Air Force.
Cactus, so that was after the 7th, okay.
You know more about. You probably read about the FAA.
I remember the transition from Cactus to Henderson.
What do you
Yeah, that was around the 1st or 2nd week of August, 1942. And that went to whatever,
do?
spring of 1943, I guess.
You've been with Carol.
No, not 2. Yeah. Fascinating, yeah.
Most people, you know, I talk to young people today, they have no idea. I don't remember when I was a kid, I had a football road veteran in town. I walked around town, and we never had no idea. The Civil War was only 70 years before the war. I had no idea. Civil War. Later on, I've written a found paper, you know, one of the big founders who was Civil War veteran from Illinois. And he wrote letters to his wife. So a copy of the letters. I call them words of the Civil War soldier. Just that time, the Army required me, I had moved grandfather that Pennsylvania in 1804, and I guess Western people before that, I think about them was a problem. Other question? Start with.
Well, anyone else have any questions for Ross?
Walter. So your wife is Irene? Your wife is Irene?
My wife's Irene.
Yeah, I found a picture of y'all on here. I see that you met her on a blind date. How did that go?
He has a thing in his pocket, he looks at Walter, you know, and he can put words in it. There, that's
Another pastor that I'm very interested in, what her trustee theory and chaos theory. These are new mathematical ideas. About 25 years ago, the student from my graduate school came up and said, Dr. Hunter, have you heard of chaos theory? I said, no. He said, well, that's math, but there's no answer. Please, in my mind, you have no answers. Yeah, there's a lot of it. We did a whole study in mathematics, or complexity, where everything is moving. The brain's a good example of everything being moving, and something arises out of that, called convergence. Works out of that, we move. Most good description. Never thought that we. It's kind of like creativity. And you become frustrating. Something prevents that. And from one of you have not heard of before, from that. And we were discovered by Weatherman. Weatherman writes and predicts the weather. One of the before by the enemy. And one evening he formed put the information into the computer, and you don't get a cup of coffee. He came back, and the computer had been running, and he made a mistake when he was putting the data again. And there was two patterns that came out, same data, and the same computer, they came out with three different events. They can't be. Then you get to think, there's so many different iterations that it's possible that some place to pull it up and find decimal points will make a difference. And so this will be more equal to chaos theory. And that's the reason with the hurricanes, for example, you live in Florida, or ocean of Texas, you know, 8 or 10 different patterns. The short that we work at the time, different predictions. Every one of us has the same phenomenon of healing. If something happens, you think your life is all planned, if something happens, and you go to my ex. Well, I don't know, lots of people, everyone's had their experience. And my wife did an example. Friday night, my first guy was hanging on. What would you? My family said, let's go to the basketball game. What was that? First basketball game. AC, Nebraska. We got my car. Go to AC, Nebraska. Up there about 5 o'clock at night. The basketball game started later. We had established. And then I had to remember, I had an old girlfriend, an old high school girlfriend. Was for the European. And we said, well, we should have all Persian place. The affiliation with the same kid. You know, and she said, no wall, she said, well, steady the barn, but we can do our game. But I read that night. Very then, it got very, I think, 3-6. So it happened. I had no idea. But it happened. It happened to you. Every one of you don't happen. In your whole faith. Son-in-law was driving. He was 71 years old, and we were still working. He was driving in North Dallas. Sunday, and really had put it hard. It was not really hard. They put him off to good. He had no idea that he sort of ran to Dallas to work, and this thing happened. Not the project here. Now I had more paper. It's happened. Phenomenal. Or we just can't make it all the world.
Anyone else?
Our presentation, folks, it's all.
It was good.
Sit right there.
That was good. I remember when I heard Walter the first time, he was talking about. I remember when you were talking about how, we all start out the same, we come out as babies. And it's our life experiences, right, that make us who we are. And you chatted with us a little bit about that, the fact that, you're all sort of start the same way, but then you have life experiences. And I remember you saying, you need to tell people about your life experiences and the things that happen to you that's formed the way you are and the person you are today. And that really impressed me, because it's, when you think about it, yep, that's what it is. Like you said, we're going this way and all of a sudden something happens. We take a right turn, or we do a U-turn, or we go over this way, or we make a phone call to somebody, a girl we used to know.
Big day that. There's good that. Then everyone who's had this opportunity to move forward. And we learn by doing. We learn by studying. So life is meaning an adjustment. You adjust to both the field that you're playing on. Like any game, playing tennis or football, or any game, you adjust, you constantly adjusting. People adjust the best players.
And you must have done pretty good at it.
But you are too. But every one of us, we're individual. We're part of the larger team. Part of the larger team of America. We're proud of being American. We go together. Trying to pull apart. That's one thing about the Marine Corps, but I have to say, this recent war of the Marine Corps is exceptional. I'm sure that Navy, Army, Air Force, and even those people pulling together and working as a team. Works as a team is strong. No, the project is writing right now, the John Forbes is a team. Is there any questions like that?
Okay, so this is something we wanted to give you.
Thank you.
It says, this is from the National Society Sons of the American Revolution. It says Dr. Walter Eugene Hunter. Did I get all that right? Okay, good. You never know with me. Okay. Hereby awarded a certificate of appreciation in recognition of his support to the McKinney chapter, Sons of the American Revolution, by presenting the program. I know you don't do programs, but I had to put something there. Maybe we should have said a discussion. Maybe I should have said a discussion. Okay. A World War II veterans life experience. This is what you've been telling us about on this day. So I wanted to give you this, and then this man over here is going to take a picture of us, so we're going to smile real big.
Got it.
Got it? And then Richard Bonaparte back here, who you met, there he is. He'd like to come down here and talk to you about something that he's been doing. Okay? Okay.
Where's he?
Walter, good to see you again. Don't squeeze my hand off this time.
Did anybody experience Walter's handshake, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, oh my goodness sakes. Where did that come?
I'm gonna be the first to give you a happy birthday wish for next month, because he turns 104 on the 19th of February.
Oh, boy.
So happy So Walter, a big part of what we do here, if you're new to this heritage organization, is we remember those that came before us. Each one of us has identified and through an application process, captured at least one patriot. And remembering is a big part of it, but defending the honor of those is a big part of it. And hearing your stories, I grew up reading about World War II. You mentioned your Civil War friend. I grew up with the Civil War like enthusiast. We played military board games when I was 20 years old, 18 years old. Growing up, I played Guadalcanal on the board. Yeah, with the forces, we've done it all. And because of what you went through, because of your experiences that you went through as a young 19-year-old, and then doing the work that needed to be done, and then having the strength and the courage and the passion to continue to go out there and share it with everybody, we wanted to honor your patriot ancestor by bringing them into the SAR and taking care of that, making you an honorary, not an honorary, but a formal Sons of the American Revolution. So what I've done is I've gone through and completed one application. You've got many, many patriots out there. You have many patriots in the Revolution. You have a whole bunch in the Civil War. You got a lot in the War of 1812, Vietnam. You've got a lot in just one part of the family line. So I've completed that. In a moment, we're going to have you sign this, and then I'm going to submit it, and you'll become a member in this chapter, but you'll become a member of the Sons of the American Revolution. Now, what's important about that is this particular patriot hadn't had a application done towards it yet. So we'll take care of that. And then others that might be in your family line that want to align one of their patriots to your guy will have an approved application, assuming they approve all this, they will, to file against that. So all this work, once filed, can be reused by others down the road. That's how we keep the great name of your patriot, Henry Hunter, alive. So I thought I'd just take a quick second and tell you a tiny bit about him. All right. So he was born in 1740, right? This is in Nansemond, Virginia, and his parents were William and Sarah. And he had one kid, Henry, that he married his sweetheart, Lucy Ruffin. And he lived until October 2nd, 1822, and he passed away in Wilkinson, Mississippi at 82. So a sprightly 82 compared to you. I think what was interesting about him is, he was one of the first settlers in the state of Mississippi. He joined the first regiment of the New Jersey militia. And there's so much to talk about this. There's so many great things that this group did, but I'll just highlight a couple things. One, I think was the most interesting thing was their founder and first commander was Sir Francis Drake.
Wow.
If you guys didn't know that. So, and he served from 1673 to 1685. All New Jersey regulars came out of that group.
Yeah.
And remember the term Jersey Blues? I don't know if you heard about that. That originated from that group because of their uniform, which was adopted in the mid-18th century. This continued on. There were a number of wars that this particular patriot, his application shows that he served on a jury list, which was another like a volunteer list, but he also gave food. He also provided what they call thoroughbred horse, but they had another name for it, mare, they called them. And then he made himself available as a patriot and a civil servant in that area. So he probably gave supplies, he gave horses, he gave food and stuff to those folks in battle at the time. Now he would have fought in a number of the wars, but I won't go through all those. So I'll mention a couple: Brandywine, Germantown, Monmouth, Sullivan Expedition, Springfield, Yorktown, Valcour Island. All of these were ones that he was a part of. He did have the rank of colonel. What we don't have records of so far is how we got those ranks and at what time, but we know at that time, even in North Carolina and Virginia. A lot of the businessmen or well-to-do folks that were in the area typically got the militia officer roles. It wasn't a formal Congress that formally recognized his service in the battlefield and rose in rank. Now, he probably had a 7-Eleven or something, you know, and he made some money. And so they made him an officer for it. But I would just say that there's a lot to know and appreciate about this wonderful soldier. So we wanted to make sure that his application process was completed. And really that starts the journey, right? It starts us on our first step in understanding this. So I think a lot more is going to come out of this. And if you want to continue and correspond with me later on, we can share a little bit more of some of the interesting facts that I think will be of value to you. So we'll take a moment. I'm going to have you sign this. We'll get a picture of it. And then once everything's done, I'll send you digital and printed copies of all these for your record, right? And then we'll go from there. What do you guys think? Yeah. Here. Let's do that. Let's do a little bit. So you can have a signature. And you. Got it?
There you go.
All right.
Okay, he'll show you where to sign. Let's get over there.
If you want to do it on the table first, that's fine. We're gonna sign right here, signature of applicant. And then we'll do today's, what have we got? What's our date today?
Today is the 15th of January.
What year?
And put January 2026. So you know it, Henry Hunter will live in infamy forever. I'll basically tell Mel kicks it back.
So
Everything's fine.
I'll get a shot of that.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, let's come over here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Here, let me get over here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like this.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So, Walter, the way we work this around here, is when we do an application of you, or as our chapter is concerned, you're a member, okay? So we meet the third Thursday of each month. Every Thursday, right here, you got a guy that knows how to get in here. And so,
I'll probably put
if you enjoyed your meeting, please come back again, okay? And we'll let you know when we get this through. We're gonna work.
Airport here.
What?
He flies, is there an airport?
Oh, we
Yeah,
got,
sure.
we're McKinney International, it's going in. And you can fly over and come see us. So anyway, so that's what this is. And again, we're so excited. I have never seen this guy work this fast. I'm just going from nothing, literally from nothing other than your name to getting all that paperwork in it. And maybe you'll have to talk to him some more because he can tell you, he's figured out lots of stories and things there about what your whole bloodline with your surname done relative for this country. I mean, it doesn't start with just the patriot himself, and it's come clear down to you. So we really appreciate you that.
Yeah.
And then Mel Oller has something else he would like to give. Again, this is our Texas State President. So I'll get out of the way and let him do his thing.
You didn't do a certificate to go with this, did you?
I did.
Okay. Walter, Texas had a medal.
Oh, okay.
I'll get to my spot.
Hold on. I'll see this.
Fellow Tess. Texas had a medal stroke that is the recognizing the 250th anniversary of the founding of the country, and that medal set we would like to present you tonight. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for an exemplary life. I've got to say, I learned a new I guess I'm gonna call it an admonition from listening to you tonight, something to leave people with when I speak. Be a good American. Is that like the best advice? Be a good American. It's been a real pleasure to meet you. And I look forward to calling you a patriot hunter. Your paperwork is all approved. Thank you.
Here, here.
Okay. Thank you, Walter.
Thank you so much. To be a part of you, you know the spirit of America, you. That's one nice thing I'm soon feel pretty about President. The right under the Marine Corps, Texas was exceptional. So are. Thank you for the grandmother. Forward. I'll carry it for family. And I'm sure they will get you. So thank you again.
Thank you, Walter. Okay, all right, thank you so much.
We go back for the new five.
Okay, somebody else.
Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, we're good, go ahead, man.
Good. I just briefly want to bring you greetings from Texas SAR. I appreciate the invitation tonight. Really enjoyed seeing some old friends, meeting several new friends. I want to encourage all of you to plan on being in Austin with us April 17th to the 19th for our state convention. One of the things that will be a little bit different this year is we will dedicate our ancestors monument that lists the names of 69 different patriots who supported the revolution and are either from Texas or buried in Texas. And from Texas sounds a little unusual to some of us yet, but we have discovered quite a number of Galvez's supporters that were Texans, and several of those names are on that monument. I'm on the past half of my year as president. April will wrap this up for me. I've really enjoyed the year. Haven't accomplished as much as I had hoped, but we've done several things that I hope are going to be good things for the society. It's been an enjoyable journey for me. One thing I do want to ask, since I'm here, since I have so many busy members here, anybody have any questions about what Texas is doing or should do, or something you got a curiosity about?
When is the dedication?
It's gonna be on Saturday. Yeah, our schedule is gonna be a little different this year because of the dedication. We'll be doing this at the state cemetery in Austin. And it's gonna happen at 10 o'clock in the morning. And if we're fortunate, Governor Abbott is gonna join us for the ceremony. We hope he's going to anyway. And several of the DAR and CAR and the Daughters of the Republic, several groups are going to join us as well for that ceremony. So all of you can make an effort to join us. Tom?
Now, one of the things that came up in some of our phone calls was anybody who's joined Austin and is gonna be there on Saturday for the dedication of our monument, wear your colonial. 'Cause this is gonna be covered by the newspaper and the TV stations.
Yeah, you can show up in
color guard attire. Welcome, hope, you'll join the large group that we hope to have there. Anything else? Okay, let's, install some new officers. Would all the incoming officers, please come forward.
You're on the back page here, guys. If you see your name there, come up in front. If you're not on this list, don't come up to the front.
So you didn't have an election, you just printed it?
Just printed it up. I hope I spelled your name right.
You
got
Some random names there.
Get over here, blood.
All right, just
You're coming.
Can't get a speeding ticket.
Can't get a speeding?
No, I don't have an overdraft.
Oh, okay, all right.
Maybe you should turn it on.
Yeah, get a turbo in, yeah, and run chase my wife for 2 hours. Oh, we'll see you do. We'll talk later. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, sure. Right hand, please. The compatriots have been duly elected as officers of the McKinney Chapter, Texas Society Sons of the American Revolution. Do you promise and swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution and bylaws of the National Society Sons of the American Revolution?
I do.
And do you further promise and swear that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office to the best of your knowledge and ability, and that you will at all times conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of our society, so help you God?
I will.
Compatriots of the McKinney Chapter, I have officially installed these officers duly elected by you. May I now remind you of your obligation to them. Assist, support, and encourage them in the discharge of their duties, thus furthering the principles and purposes of the Sons of the American Revolution. Congratulations to the McKinney Chapter officers for 2026.
Thank you.
Appreciate you volunteering. You don't have a clue what you've got.
I'll be swimming now.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah.
Against the British and concentrating so I agree that in Spanish, but they were French ancestry.
Okay. So Mel, we would like to give you this, John brought this book in. We'd like to give you this book for coming. I don't know whether you've read that or not, but it's have you read it? Well, you may need another one. You never know, you might need 100 of those. Yes, thank you so much. Here, well, let's- Oh, I gotta have a picture for it. Got it.
Yeah, let's move on. Any other announcements that need to be made?
Yeah, real quick.
Go ahead.
Jerry, why don't you come up? Just real quick, lot of great work we did last year. We did over 65 applications last year, about 10 supplementals, and we're about to close a whole bunch of them this year. A big part of that were some very, very challenging supplementals that we put through, but they were important not only to Jerry, but to two other applicants because they opened the door for other patriots that they're trying to apply to. Enoch Jackman was one such. So I wanted to let you know that we did get his stuff in. So here's that. Why don't you hang on to that? And then here's a record copy for you. I've got more of them. Yeah.
That's great.
Let's take a picture of that for him, but real quick, and then maybe take a minute. Thanks, Bill. Can you tell us a little bit about Enoch Jackman?
Yeah, Enoch Jackman, born in 1752 in Salisbury, Massachusetts. As a young man was a farmer, as many of my ancestors were. Answered the alarm as a private tutor in Lexington in 1775. Later joined and became a 3-year infantry service member, fought in Albany. Unique ancestor in that in 1779, after he left his infantry service, he served 2 months as a mariner aboard the Vengeance, which was scuttled at the Penobscot expedition. I think he was a good swimmer because he survived. And he became a shoemaker. And he ended up in Garland, a couple of different Maine towns as a shoemaker. And so he would come to your house and for whatever it was, 75 cents or whatever, sit by your hearth and make a couple of pairs of shoes. That's not unique. What was unique about Enoch Jackman is he would proceed to tell you all about all of the craziness going on in the village and about all your neighbors. So he was a virtual Facebook, which is probably why he was a popular shoemaker. The other interesting thing about him is church would take all day. So you go to church in the morning, you maybe get to go home and eat and warm up and come back to church. Enoch Jackman would often fall asleep. And of course, it didn't work well for the pastor. And they would ask him, pastor would say, he fell asleep. How could that happen? Do you know what I said in my sermon? And Enoch Jackman would generally be able to reproduce the sermon to the words. He's a very intelligent individual. I don't know whether he fought at Bunker Hill. We're going to find that out. And Rich is a really good genealogist, and I think I'm getting good at this. And then Rich brought this home. This ancestor was more than a year, maybe a year and a half, and this is a persistence deal. Some of the work that I did in 2001, when you still were calling people and begging by letter if a town hall had a record. I met a town historian, Virginia Merrill. She's since passed away. Virginia Merrill, I would send letters and I would say, can you tell me about this ancestor? She would send me a letter back and say, I sure can. And for $25 more, I can tell you. So it's kind of funny. I finally got her on the phone one day and she said, and what I didn't know is she was a mathematician, had worked for the aeronautical part of the government. I don't know if it was NASA in those days. She was a very bright person. She was the town historian for Solon, Maine. Her house is now the Historical Society's home. She said, if you came to Maine and you walked around in Solon, you would be related to probably 1 or 4 people. What I didn't know is her husband is a third cousin 2 times removed to me, and how we write the genealogical proof argument to prove that Martha Jackman, the daughter of Enoch, was in fact that person. So this took a long time, and Rich didn't quit, and this was a really important one for me. So I appreciate his efforts.
Yeah, and we're going to talk afterwards for a minute about Kate and all Gould and all those have all been submitted.
Right.
But there was 5. This was one of them. All of them have been submitted, but it's a challenge because most of the records that he had in Salt, they burned down in the city hall, burned, or it was flooded, so there was nothing. So he had huge gaps in the genealogy sequence for many of his applications, but we just banged it out.
One last thing I'll say, my grandparents owned a home on Waltham Street in Lexington. For 50 years, they lived there. If you walk down Waltham Street, you turn left on Massachusetts Avenue, you'll see the Captain John Parker statue at the Battle Breed. So as a young kid, 12 years old or so, I'd stand with my grandfather and watch the reenactment on April 19th as a kid. And had no idea that someday I'd discover a fifth great grandfather marched from Salisbury to answer the alarm. Pretty cool. That's why I do this.
Yeah. And well, and you were born in Boston, so go Bruins. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rick. You can take a look at the back cover and see the upcoming events. Are there any that we need to highlight at this point? I see one that's bolded. Is that one?
That's the one that Mel was talking about, basically, our April 15th and April 19th. This, I think I can say easily, this would be a great, if you've never been to one of these, this would be a great one to come to. There's a lot of things going on, and especially the fact that you're dedicating this monument. It'd be a great one to come to, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you just say, okay, I'm gonna come down there and see what these guys do when they go off 3 or 4 days or whatever.
Well, good. So we have many upcoming events. And let's move on to the December amendments. I think they were published through Caring by the internet. Yep. We have a motion to accept them, approve them.
Sir, motion.
We have a number 2.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I don't hear any no's.
Hearing
Hearing none. Peter, would you please tell us about the finances?
Yes, sir. All right, so I'm gonna try to speak up because I don't have a microphone.
Would you like one?
That's okay.
Okay.
Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good deal. All right, so at the last meeting, our funds were $8,254.73. Expenses for the month were $36.50 for certificate folders. Those are the blue folders that we put our certificates in, new members. $85 in medals and certificates. $170.46 for Zoom meeting. It's a subscription. I believe that's annual.
Annual, yes.
Thank you. $63.75 for newspapers.com. That's for our registrar. $81.16 for ancestry.com. That's also for our registrar. That covered 4 months. $11.75 for postage. We collected $20 for dual membership dues this month. So the chapters available fund are now $7,826.11. This amount does not include the funds that are already allocated to Project 2026, which equals $1,860. Are there any questions? Hearing none.
Thank you, Peter. Are there any other announcements that need to be made tonight? Any old business or anything?
Yeah, I've got one here, since this guy, graced us with his presence. I thought y'all was gonna, come on, let's see. I thought y'all was gonna use at least a little bit. So this is Mark Harrison. Mark. Hanson.
You don't come to the.
I'm trying to make a point here, guys. Gonna work with me a little bit here, work with me.
You said you were gonna embarrass me, right?
Well, usually that doesn't work out, somehow I get that off of you. It doesn't work out. So, what this is about was, and a lot of you know it, but some of you don't, we basically, had, our local DAR chapter had their traveling road show that some of you have seen, maybe you've seen that, I don't know, Mel, but basically it's a road show, basically talking about the 250th and basically synopsizes the Revolutionary War. And they have multiple panels
that they put out at different locations that basically talk about the Revolutionary War. They also have some videos. The interesting point about it that I really loved about it was they talk about some of the average people that you probably hadn't heard about, what they had done, and how maybe that even impacted their lives. And they took both sides, you know, some guys that became Tories and then the others that were patriots. So anyway, so our local chapter asked if we would help sponsor it. It was here in McKinney at the museum. We have a county museum here in McKinney. They had gotten into the museum. This ranged a good 6 weeks, right, or something like that or more. Basically and it was open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Did I get that right? I think, guys, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday each week. Well, and basically for about 6 hours at a time. And the local DAR regent came to us and said, we would like to have you co-host us, and if you can wear your colonial, great, but co-host us there. And so we decided to that was wrong. So I stuck my neck way out and I decided we were going to do it no matter what we had to do, we were going to do it. We had a lot of help from others, a lot of help from the Dallas chapter, other chapters around in the area, and we did. So Mark came and you did a couple of times. How many times you did?
Yeah.
3. You kept doing it because it's like on a Thursday or one day anyway. So we've given most of these out, but since this guy doesn't show up very often, anyway, you're going to go do better, right? I know you do. Okay. But anyway, so this is what this is. This is the one. This is from the certificate from the Daughters of the American Revolution. Certificate of recognition for Mark Hansen. Okay, from the John Abson chapter in SDAR, basically for helping them by supporting their traveling roadshow, which means that he did at least 1 3-hour tour of duty and maybe 2 or 3 or 4. I can't remember how many. Oh heavens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times he did that. 3-hour stints each time. Okay. So that's the layout. Lynn Thomas, me personally, thank you for that. You weren't here when she came over and did that. So that's what that is. And then this is one from the McKinney chapter, certificate of appreciation. This says basically in recognition of his participation in the McKinney chapter since the American Revolution host at the NSDR American Revolution Experience Traveling Roadshow at Collin County Historical Museum and on all those dates. So with that,
Thank you.
we're going to do this. We're going to get a picture so I can show Lynn that I really gave these to you.
I'm gonna put hers in front.
Yeah, you're doing good. You've learned.
Mark, check the spelling.
Here, I got my pen if we need.
HARRI.
I'll pick it up later.
Beautiful. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mark. Anyway, so that's what I've got. Do we have any other things that I've forgotten we're going to do tonight? Anyone else? I guess that's it then. Well, back over to you. It's Chris.
Please stand.
I apologize. Jim Akers. Come up here.
Check the spelling.
Yeah. That's Acorn, right? AC. Okay. I think you did this.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I've already given you one I had for you. This is the one from Lynn again, from the Daughters of the American Revolution, says the same thing. He did his tour of duty also at the time.
And Sandy was with me.
And Sandy was with him, yes, and I remember that. Y'all, I think, had a reasonably good time talking with the ladies and interfacing with them. And maybe even saw kids. Did you see some kids when you were there?
You did, yes.
They had kids come in. One of the things that our chapter did was we basically, the DAR, one of the things they had, I forgot what they called it. Basically, they had a little 10-question sheet of paper that the kids could go around and try to find the answers in the poster. So they read the poster or the big panels and everything. And so basically, and when they did that, well, then whether they passed or failed, that really was not the point of it. But anyway, after they did that, and then what we did was we had some nice little American flags, and we gave each one of those kids an American flag.
So that was fun too. I guess, yeah. So here we go. And I think I'm only down to one or two more of these that I can't find the guys anymore. But okay. Appreciate it, bro. That's just. You know, he's our District 11 vice president, so everybody, you know, try to be sort of nice to him for another few months. Yeah. Thank you. Okay.
Please stand for the good Peace of God which passes all understanding. Keep your hearts and minds in the knowledge and love of God and His Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. And the blessing of God Almighty, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost be amongst you and remain with you always. Amen. And our recession.
Let us remember our obligation to our forefathers who gave us the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the innocent Franklin Court, and a nation of free men.
Meeting is adjourned.
Yeah. Let's see.
Great job, Paul.